you almost have to ask whether he has some kind of a fetish, because he invents all kinds of crazy ways to get them assassinated, by poisoning them with polonium, with Novichok, by blowing them out of air, like mid-air, like, for example, Prigozhin. And now again with Navalny, a further death as well.
Tell me, Sergey, the report of from this human rights group of the involvement of Russian security agents in the killing of Alexei Navalny and the methods used, you would say this report is credible?
So the report that the Russian security or the Russian authorities are involved in Navalny's killing is very credible. There's no other way almost to see him die there. It would have to be coming directly from Putin. On the other hand, to say that he was killed in a particular kind of way, I think is premature. For me, the question is, well, how do we know that? But it's not the point. The point is that Putin had Navalny killed. That's the more important fact than the way how he died.
Right. It's obviously got a lot of attention. I mean, this source, gulagu.net, it is a credible source, is it, in your judgment?
I won't count it as necessarily super credible in my judgment. I mean, I have seen the source, and I just can't say. I cannot say. Obviously, the Russian prison system is not an entirely closed environment. It is possible to get information in and out, and indeed, even Alexei Navalny was able to tweet, not directly, of course, but send messages to the outside world from his imprisonment. But I just don't know whether we should give particular credence to this particular piece of information when even now we still don't even have Alexei Navalny's body. That is to say, his mother has been trying to get it, but the authorities are not giving it out.
Okay, now what we do know, Sergey, is the pattern of Putin's critics and opponents being killed, being assassinated in various parts of the world. That is well established now, isn't it?
That is well established. Navalny is certainly not the first and probably not the last of Putin's critics that has been assassinated. We had Boris Nemtsov, for example, who was killed in plain view of the Kremlin in 2015, already 9 years ago. We have many critics of Putin's who are now languishing in prison in Russia, and of course are fully exposed to full brutality of the Russian state. And just recently, we had reports of a Russian defector who was killed in Spain, presumably as in revenge for his defection to Ukraine. So that just shows that that Putin's regime is willing to prosecute its opponents inside Russia, but also reach as far as it can, also even into the heart of Western Europe, which is very disturbing, I have to say.
And just lastly, it is right to say that Putin has been really quite open through various channels, including media channels, about the fate which is in store for those who've been described as traitors.
He has been. He rules by brute force. He values loyalty, but people who have crossed him, he goes after with considerable brutality. And sometimes, you almost have to ask whether he has some kind of a fetish, because he invents all kinds of crazy ways to get them assassinated, by poisoning them with polonium, with Novichok, by blowing them out of air, like mid-air, like, for example, Prigozhin. And now again with Navalny, a further death as well.
Sergey Radchenko, a professor at Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, an expert on Russian security policy. Thank you for your thoughts.